Finally, we have returned to the airwaves. And you, dear hockey fan, can get some solid, good hockey news. We should tell you that In the Crease is sponsored by Play It Again Sports. Bob, tell us all about that.
Play It Again Sports, the only Play It Again in Western Pennsylvania here. For all your sports needs, whether it's new or used, hockey, softball, soccer, baseball. It's not that far a drive from Bethel Park, PA. It's right on Greensburg, Route 30. It's good old State Route 30. Come up, bring your used gear, trade it in, trade it up. Play It Again Sports.
And they always provide some really nifty things for us to give away on the show. And we want to announce right at the beginning that we do have a winner. And this lady is a very good friend of yours.
Yeah,
I've never met her. Polly Parker Elkin Walker. Polly, I've never met you, so believe me when I tell you straight from the heart, pick a damn name and run with it, okay? This doesn't fly at all, I gotta tell you. Yeah, I hate when people have 3 names and you went and made 4. So you know Polly well. She's going to be getting herself a nice free gift from the fine folks at Play It Again Sports. And I think that'll all work out well. Polly, one name. Pick one name and run with it. And that's for Play It Again Sports. You know, before we get into the meat and potatoes of hockey here, I should probably tell you that we make it a habit of really criticizing and picking on the local sports broadcasters, and they deserve every word that we do throw their way. And inevitably, I get one of 2 things that happen. One, people who know hockey say, I listen to these buffoons just to hear how many mistakes they make. And the other group say, oh, I listen to them just so I can laugh because they say the stupidest things.
You can make a drinking game out of it.
You could indeed, but it's going to get worse because now that stupidity is going to hit you right in the pocket. This happened about 6 months ago. DirecTV came out and said, you know what, these sports franchise fees are increasing so much that we are actually going to charge more, and they tacked on a $3 charge for the local sports coverage networks on their monthly fees. And now the network that plays host to our show, Verizon Fios, has said they will do the exact same thing. So Root Sports, which is the local regional sports, in order to help compensate for the stipend they have to pay those folks to for the carry and what have you, there's going to be roughly about a $2.50 increase added on to your Verizon bill.
So that means they're going to fire Erie or Staggerwell?
God, one would only hope so. I mean, who wants to pay to hear that buffoonery? You know, it's going to cost you roughly, what, $36, $35 extra a month to listen to these guys? They're not that funny, you know, and you can still get your best hockey right here. Now, it's going to start over in the big cities first, the top 10 markets, L.A., Chicago, New York, what have you, and then eventually it'll trickle down. So you have a bit of time. You have probably until the start of the next hockey season in September before the fees actually come down here.
What they're going to want you to do is watch the hockey game now on the internet.
Well, why not? I mean, you know, first off, you might get a decent announcer like, you know, Doc Emmerich, where you can sit and actually
CBC
enjoy
feed.
the game. Exactly, you know, and you don't have to listen to that ridiculous stuff that that the local guys hear.
Well, if you do watch it on the internet, you can always do the radio broadcast, which I think Bork and Lang does a good job. I know Mike is a Hall of Fame broadcaster,
Sure.
so for whatever reason,
And he's been on the show.
Why would you not have him on the TV as well as the radio?
Yeah.
But you know, when you're a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, regardless, the bottom line is you guys that have been saying they make you laugh, it's going to cost you about $35 a year extra if you want to hear those guys laugh. So there you go. It's coming down to that eventually. Yeah, honest to God. It doesn't, well, okay. And we still want to keep talking about local things. And Bob, when we were doing our show prep last night, which was another story altogether, when we were doing our local story last show prep, no, I was quite right. Thank you. And that'll come up later in the show.
Geez.
Anyway, one thing we did agree on was that the World Juniors were actually a lot of fun to watch.
Especially
we were talking
local
about
kids.
Yes, we were talking about how hockey survived even during the during the lockout. And you wanted to mention the local kids and how they played.
It's very unique that you had 3 local kids playing on Team USA, and they happened to win the gold when there was no hockey out there, when that was the only hockey you could watch unless you were, watching coast hockey or minor league hockey somewhere, if you could take the ride up the Erie or go to Wheeling or, Johnstown to see the Tomahawks play.
Yep.
So it was a great situation to have 3 local kids make that Team USA World Junior team and win a gold. And it's pretty unique because John Gibson, for example, went to high school with his mom. Didn't realize it. And
she's still trying to forget that,
yes,
isn't she?
She teaches actually in the South Hills. She teaches somewhere in, I guess it's Baldwin, Whitehall, Borough, which they have as many names as Polly Parker or Winter.
That's right.
But, my sister said, hey, you got a yearbook from high school. And I'm like, yeah, somewhere in the house. Well, bring it over. I want to show you something. So she goes, this kid John Gibson? I said, yeah, he played for the Predators. He, played up Kitchener for Ranger. Kind of a kid that grew into his body because he was always kind of a big kid. Won a gold medal. Then you have Miller, another local kid out of Pittsburgh. They just had a phenomenal tournament, and not only was it a lot of fun, it was a lot of fun to see kids that you knew were,
Yeah. There wasn't Sade in that one too?
Yeah, and Sade was the third kid.
Yeah, Sade played with Gabe.
Yeah. And it's just remarkable that, you watch these kids, in your local rink, and all of a sudden they're playing in TV worldwide, not nation, worldwide.
Yeah.
And bringing home the gold for
And
Team
you know what?
USA.
Gibson needed it too because in his first outing he didn't do very, very well and came under a lot of criticism.
Well, he was definitely the highest touted goaltender in the whole tournament.
Big rebound.
The two
He got
guys that
MVP.
won it, two guys that won it last year for the Russian team.
Yeah.
They were supposed to be, the next coming this year was supposed to be their year, but John, stepped up, played real well. A little bit disappointed he didn't end up making Anaheim's team out of camp, but I think he had a couple more years left, and goalies take a little bit longer to mature and develop. And
he's still under
NHL.
contract to them. They just sent him down. So, I mean, it's
He'll play his last year at Kitchener, and hopefully next year he'll be chasing Hilliard out of the starting goal.
No, you never know. While we're speaking about local guys, too, local hockey did not fare very well when it came time to interview some of those local guys. John Gibson is one of the ones after he won the MVP and won gold in the juniors. They asked him about growing up here in Pittsburgh and the Pittsburgh area hockey. That was probably a wrong question to ask John because what he stated emphatically was that he remembers how many coaches and teams he tried out for here, and the coaches told him he would never amount to anything. He wasn't good enough to play on their team, and he was cut. And he said it was very, very discouraging.
Which I think was a great learning experience for John.
Because you got to be resilient that way.
That added fuel to your fire.
And I think it also shows the quality of local hockey, which is why we stopped covering it here on this show. We ran into way too much dramatics and high school drama.
Then you want to get into another controversy about local hockey, speaking about what John spoke? How about they're trying to eliminate kids from playing local hockey? It's a travesty. Okay, the open division, just because you don't have a hockey team in your local school, now they're trying to get rid of, because my children play at Alderdice, the West Mifflin doesn't have a hockey team. Now they're telling Alderdice, if you got too many kids that go to your school, you can support your own hockey team. So basically, high school hockey's telling you, go play travel because we don't care if you don't have a program.
All right, I don't think the high schools wanted it from the get-go, to be honest.
And that's exactly what John said in the short term. No one in this area cares about their own sport. That's why high school hockey is not as big as football, basketball.
And the other biggie was Jake Hildebrand, who was out there playing for the Fighting Sioux, right? North Dakota. And, I mean, he's just tearing things up as a freshman out there. And they asked him about local hockey, and what he had to say was his entire experience of playing hockey here in the Pittsburgh area taught him absolutely nothing. He learned nothing about the game or how to play it until he entered the USHL. And, I mean, those are rough comments coming from guys that are potential superstars in the future and making it big. But once again, that's why there was a time we did local hockey on this show and we tried to cover it.
Why do you think I got out of coaching?
You can't believe the mindset of the people involved in local hockey here, it's not even worth going
negative.
into. Yeah, it's not even worth going into. So
They're more concerned with their own agenda than the
so
kids.
we reach those guys. Yes, I couldn't have put that any better. Exactly right. So, and we do want to remind you of one thing that you can find. Our exclusive interview with Theo Fleury is now finally back up online. I told you on the last In the Crease that we were going to run it up there, and I don't think Dave put it up on the Toner Woods site. I think it's up on the Right Critic page. So, Dave, if you would run the URL below so that everybody can see that, go to www.youtube.com/user/rightcritic, and our interview with Theo Fleury, edited version, of course, so it could fit on YouTube, is in there. And the thing that's amazing is we interviewed Fleury about 2 years ago now, and the things he's saying 2 years ago, boy, they have come true, and they hold just as solid in spades, if you will.
He's the Jose Chisenko of the hockey.
Yeah, and
he's the one that everyone said, "What are you talking about? Yeah. You know, are you on drugs? Are you high?"
Well, he was.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. What's coming out of your mouth? And you know, sure enough, it was all true. Pretty much, Dead hit the nail right on the head.
He sure did. And a couple other things that we want to talk about. First off, I think I would be remiss if I didn't invite everybody who watches the show on a regular basis, because right now, as we're taping, I think we need to take a pause out and everybody just start laughing when I mention Philadelphia Flyers. We might not get a chance to do this. How many games have they won now? Two? Two games. 2 games with great victories. Bob, this is your team. Are you hiding your head in shame, son?
Oh, it happens. It happens. But I'd rather only have 2 wins than lose to like Toronto and the Islanders. And have a team that's supposed to win the cup.
Now you're going to start making excuses for
There's
it.
no excuses.
It's
a young season.
I got to tell you, every time I see the Flyers on TV, I just sit there and I start laughing. And I have the phone in my hand. I'm ready to send the text messages, but I've been good.
Hey,
I have not done it.
You know what the best is? When Tuukka Rask runs out of gas and his team is begging Thomas to come back, and Thomas is like, no.
Yeah, that's exactly what he'll do, too. And then they had the owner come out and say, well, he sat out this year in a sabbatical, so we're definitely going to have to, there'll be some benching when he comes back. We're definitely going to have to bench him,
Thomas is laughing about it.
Yeah.
He's like, get me out of Boston as quick as you can.
We said that there were rumors that Timmy Thomas was going to go to the Philadelphia Flyers, in which case Bob and I would probably have sat here and rooted for the same team. Well, that would have been terrible. But now there's rumors floating around that they actually might wheel and deal. We were talking about this before the show went on. For Corey Schneider from Vancouver, if they could pull him. You seem to think that if Vancouver trades either goalie, they've made a bad move.
Correct. In today's game,
yep.
You need 2 solid netminders. That's why Pittsburgh went out and got Valkuna as a backup. That's why, look at Nashville when they had Ellis and Pacarine, and then they had Lindmar, who's in Tampa right now. You need 2 solid goaltenders. That's why Columbus went out and traded for Bobrovsky, because now they have Bobrovsky and Mason.
Yeah.
So both of those young guys can come up.
And St. Louis?
Every team needs to. Yeah, St. Louis is the best probably situation because Havik and Alley, they're just phenomenal netminders.
Yeah.
Every team that goes far in the playoffs has 2 guys that could be a number 1. You have a number 1 and a number 1A. It's usually what they're calling. Look at Detroit all those years. They had Vernon and Osgood holding down the fort.
Yeah.
Detroit went out and got Gustafsson, who's a capable backup. I don't know why he couldn't start in Toronto, but Detroit went out and got him, man. And that's a team that proves you can win with a good, solid goaltender. You don't need a superstar in net, but you can beat a team like Pittsburgh with a Chris Osgood.
Yeah.
How many cups does Chris has? Playing in the show.
And even Colorado has a nice tandem.
Balamos and Jaguar. Jaguar's the veteran. He's got some good Stanley Cup playoff experience.
Sure.
And I think in the whole, we call our show The Crease, and we had some Facebook quotes that people want to name. Hey, the best goalie. It's too young in the season. I mean, who are you going to pick? They played 10 games now. Craig Anderson would be your best goalie right now if you had to pick one.
Well, we should mention that what Bob's talking about is Carrick Davis, who we mentioned a couple of times.
Who?
And is now... He's your protege, man.
Not mine.
He's over playing in, is it Finland or Sweden?
Finland.
He's
Finland.
Okay. He's over playing in the
He's
European
up in the Arctic
League.
Circle.
Yeah, he's up in Finland playing.
Freezing his.
Yeah, and he comments regularly on the Facebook page, so he mentioned
Because he has
that
no life.
he wants us
Hockey
to
and nothing.
Well, he's in Finland, for crying out loud. You know, he can't even go to the bar. Because does he speak Finnish yet?
Yeah, he says 4 words. Screen, you stink.
You know what? You can't pick up women with
Man
those.
on you? No.
Yeah, that won't work.
He had a nice experience. I'll tell you off the field about what a couple of his players played a trick on him.
Oh, we can't say it on camera?
No, it's not clean enough to say on camera.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
Go no further. Anyway, he sent us a note on the Facebook page, and he wanted us to give us a list on our first show back of who we thought the
So
top
we'll give you a
goalies
list,
were.
Carrick. 1A and 1B. Bob Nelson and Fury
There you go.
Mastracci. Okay, that's your list. That's all you need to know. Guys that played goal, 1A and 1B on the list. Okay. Do I need to say any more?
Not a bit.
We'll throw Craig Anderson as the number 2. This in honor of this old dinosaur shirt that Fury has on.
And this is still a better symbol than the one they're wearing now. What was that one you liked?
Oh,
Oh.
we're awful.
Yeah, I keep waiting for Oklahoma to come after. You know, where the wind goes
Why would
sweeping
you
down.
they might as well put a smiley face on their logo. That's almost as lame as that penguin logo with the pigeon. Remember the pregnant pigeon?
I remember the.
Oh man, that was awful.
Yeah, I remember that.
And everyone makes fun of the old Vancouver V shirt. At least the V meant something, Vancouver.
I have one of those
I have 2 of those.
with Neely's name on the back.
I have Tiger Williams.
That's going back a bit. Definitely going back a bit. A couple of goalies we do want to mention, though. In the early going, I think Pittsburgh fans have to be really happy with the
Vokoun.
play of Vokoun.
What was that number all about, though? 92 on a goal.
Well, he was 29 when he was with the Caps.
Well, he's better than Fleury. Let him.
I
take
understand
number.
that, and I've been posting that up on the thing. But you don't supplant somebody that's already on the team. So he wears 92,
You're a veteran.
which is not bad. And I've been very impressed with his play. Tuukka's been a little shaky, but I do got to say, when the Bruins picked up Tuukka Rask, they were a bit concerned because he had a really bad reputation. He flew off the handle a lot and did crazy things like beat the hell out of people that scored on him, throw his stick like a
You
javelin
say that like
at
it's
people.
a bad thing.
Well, no, because that's the way Mike used to play. So why would I was used to this, And the other day when they were playing the Devils, it was going into a shootout and it was going back and forth. And the Devils were getting kind of cute, coming down trying to put these street maneuvers. And he said, "You know what? I've had enough of this crap." And came out, doomed the guy, swept him across, took him off his feet, never even got the shot off, sent him head first into the boards. And I stood up and I was like, "Yeah, that's the way it's supposed to be." Brought back the good old days. Oh, and while we're speaking about that, it's easy to pick on Bob Airey, and it's real easy to pick on Staggy. Just look at what they do to a game. Where in the world did NBC and the NHL Network pick up this Liam McHugh? Oh my goodness, if we want ballerina dancers in the National Hockey League, we could have gone to Tolstoy and got them. Why did we pick this guy? He's sitting with Keith Jones and Mike Milbury complaining and bitching about fighting in hockey and says, "Why can't we return this sport to the gentleman's sport it used?" Gentleman's sport it used to be?
Sport?
What in the hell does he know about hockey?
Well, all you have to do is do a little research on the Google and know that he has a little bit of a relative high up into the company, I believe, is how he maybe attained that position.
Has to.
Because
Liam McHugh is way too light in the loafers to be announcing hockey. When he comes on, shut the volume off.
hey, this isn't Bantam hockey here.
Honest to God.
Holy
He
heck.
wants to play with little pink pucks.
Yeah, and have little radars in them. And,
Yeah, let's put tutus on the players and let them skate around and pirouette.
Here's what we always talk about. Prime up simple. Did you hear the comment he made on the elbow to Wayne Simmons' head?
Yeah.
Okay, he's like, "Oh, that was so uncalled for." And he goes, "What was worse was uncalled for was the fight afterward. That Flyer player did what the official should have did.
Yep.
Protect his teammate.
Yep.
It was a cheap shot by the Capitals.
Yep.
Those steroid-looking monkey Capitals, because that's what they're all on.
Don't mince words, Bob. Tell us how you really
That's
feel.
what they're on.
Yeah.
And what would be worse is if they were in a warmer climate like L.A. or San Jose or Florida or Tampa, and we'll get into this because I'm not happy with this sport that we have in these warm weather climates, and they're saying, oh, we have so much of a disadvantage. Get out your little violin. I don't care if you have to travel from north, south, east, and west. You picked your team here. You got nice weather, hot-looking women in bathing suits 24/7. So travel to Pittsburgh and play hockey.
That's right. I couldn't agree with you more. Here's what started out. Last night we're doing show prep. Bob and I went down to one of our favorite watering holes, and we started with show prep very comfortably, very easy.
They asked us to leave.
They did. Actually, rather physically asked us to. And we had everybody in the bar agreeing with one of us or other. It wasn't me.
You started it.
Here we go.
No. You started it.
Wait a minute. First, let's satisfy Carrick. Are we done with the goalies? Are we done talking about
the
the
heck
guys?
with him.
Okay.
Go. Turn on a light out there because I know it's dark 24/7 out there.
From what I heard, he doesn't have a light bulb. So
We'll mail you one. We'll mail you one. Tell us the size.
Yeah, if anybody wants to mail some light bulbs down to Carrick, I'm sure he'll appreciate it. So, okay, here's what started this all last night, and here we go again. I saved it for
Gary
last.
Bettman and Donald Fair started this.
Well, we started out agreeing with them.
Yeah, they both screwed up.
Exactly. Huge screw up,
so we
especially
thought it was
Bettman.
worth
We've been
talking
calling
about.
for him getting out of there in the first place. And then what started this whole brouhaha, which, got us tossed out of. Of course, we didn't have to pay the tab, so that was good. But
they're happy to get rid of us.
yeah, they were. But everybody else in the place was fighting along with us, so we were good. But the bottom line is, Tiger Williams, Dave Schultz, those guys would have been proud of us last night doing show prep for this. That would have been, we want to party with you and Bob.
Line up the shots.
That's right.
Bar shots.
Bob said that you liked the shortened season and thought that possibly a 45 or a 60 game season would be all the NHL would need. Go ahead, take it from there.
And it's this simple, okay?
Yep.
You force these weak teams that don't belong in the league to have to up the ante. Better quality hockey. It's going to be more exciting. And here's what I propose, and I got laughed at, but I think this is great, okay? Forget about anything more than, I think we came out with a roundabout number. The only thing we agreed on this, 62 games.
Yeah.
Okay?
Well, we figured 32 teams.
Correct.
You play every team in the league twice. That'll give you 62 games.
That started another argument, but we'll save that for a second here.
Yeah.
Okay?
That's the one that made sense.
I'm a big, firm believer that you shorten the games. Okay, so you might raise the ticket prices a little bit, but you're making each game more important during the regular season because there's teams.
You're talking about shortening the number of games, not shortening the game.
Correct.
Right,
No,
okay.
Shorten
okay.
the regular season game amount of the game.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And then the other thing that I came up with that I thought was ingenious is if you get a tie, you get no points. The hell with it. Forget the shootout. Forget the overtime.
Yep.
Make the teams play 60 minutes of good quality hockey.
Yeah.
So now it's 60
Mention what you said about the third period, because that's one of the only good part you made.
3 minutes left in the game, you're going to see the best quality players out there,
Right.
head to head. You're
Right.
going to see Crosby lining up against, Tavares. You're going to see Tavares lining up against Zetterberg and Datsuk because they want to get the point.
Yep.
If you don't win the game in regulation,
Yep.
you don't get nothing.
Right.
Nothing. So then it makes more of an emphasis on the regular season, which is shortened season.
Right. And
will
then they
give you that.
don't play for the tie and
Correct.
play for the sissy points.
Yeah, the sissy point.
Right.
Because, a team, you either win or you lose it.
Yep.
The game is 60 minutes long. That's what the game should be, 60 minutes long.
Yep.
You're not playing playoff hockey, so make the games more meaningful. That means the cream will rise to the top.
Yep.
That means the crap teams that shouldn't have a team, all those warm climates like L.A.,
Yeah,
Florida.
the cup champions you're talking about?
They were handed the cup.
Yeah,
Come on.
yeah,
I
yeah.
like L.A., don't get me wrong.
Yeah, because nobody wanted Brodeur to win.
Correct.
It was all Patrick Wall conspiracy.
Correct.
To keep
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's got
Here we
enough
go.
record. He's got enough record.
Yeah.
So anyways, if you shorten the season, the owners won't like it because they lose a little bit of money.
Yeah,
but
they're
you're going to get more fans watching the product. You're going to get more fans supporting the game because it now becomes more of a better product. And that's what the hockey wants, a better product.
Right.
You know,
and we don't need Liam McHugh trying to tell us how the game should be played.
This is going to be, there's going to be more physical play out there.
Yes.
Guys are going to have to earn it.
Yes.
They're going to have to earn that win. The third period is going to be like watching, you know, like you talk about other sports. You talk about basketball.
Yes.
No one turns on basketball until the last quarter because it only gets excited the last 2 minutes of the game.
Right.
Hockey would be excited for the whole 50
Some of us
minutes
don't even turn it on then.
because then you can't get players, you know, loafing on their shifts.
Yeah.
In the first period, you're not going to see the teams dump and chase. The first period, you're going to see the teams lighten up the scoreboard.
That's
and
right.
Isn't what they want hockey to be.
That's right.
A goal fest.
That's right. You're absolutely right. This is the one point that we agreed on. Well, there were actually two. We'll get to the other one in just a minute. But when we were talking about people trying to tell other people how to play the game, you know, I had to laugh my butt off this past weekend. You had Pittsburgh playing the Capitals in a nationally televised game, and Doc, God bless his soul, the man must drink like crazy after working with Olczyk.
Hey.
Here's Eddie Olczyk screaming over the air at Ovechkin, telling him how he should play the game. Olczyk was a perennial fourth liner. I don't think he ever carried any of the swag that Ovi carries at any time. Yeah. And he's telling him how to play the other thing we agree, you know, stuff is so frustrating. How do these guys get on the air and how do they stay on there? I don't want to get into that because I think I know. The other thing that we agreed on, and this was actually your point as well, the only 2 points that we agreed on all night, was you didn't like the way the teams were doing the 50% thing and trying to. So why don't you go ahead and mention that? That was. Go ahead. That was your point. How they ignored all the fans beforehand, and now all of a sudden they're catering to the.
Okay, you got a food bill that's due from Airmark that you overbought for the other 20 games that you don't have. So we're gonna tame you. We're gonna give you pretzels and nachos and this and that for the first 4 games. Because if it doesn't, that goes bad. They're gonna lose money. So they'd rather give it away. They'd rather bribe you to come back to the sport. This shouldn't have been a 48 game schedule.
Yeah.
They basically stuck it right to you. And then, okay, 50% off on jerseys. Who wants a Jordan Stahl shirt? 50% off, and you can go down to Dick's and get it 50% off already.
You can go online and find them for 15.
Yeah. I mean, so what is up with that? That just shows you that the owners are ignorant, and they say, hey, we got all this money tied up in here because we overordered. We got to unload it. Let's at least get $1 for it, then get nothing for it.
And make it look like we're doing something great.
And the bottom line is, they're never going to get back the money that they lost for those 20 home games.
No.
Because this should have been settled when?
In the summer.
In the summer,
In
Gary
August.
Bettman and Donald Fair.
Right.
And that's
In
why
August.
we didn't talk about the contract, because it was the same contract that was put on the table in the summer.
Yep.
They just finally, the only difference is the owners are like, hey, we screwed up on signing a couple people. We ain't going to mention any names. Ricky Pietro, Roberto Luongo. Pronger, Redmond.
Oh,
who's the little guy that got released from Montreal? Gomez.
Yeah, go, Scotty Gomez. Now
so
the thing that really set things off, and everyone going at the place last night, was whether or not the teams on the East Coast should even bother playing the teams on the West Coast. Of course they should.
No!
That's why you need the conspiracy. And I'd love to talk about this, but you know what? We are fresh out of time. And we've got to go. So I promise you on the next show, we will talk about East Coast teams versus West Coast teams and why Bob has his head firmly up his butt when he's talking about playing the Capitals and the Flyers for 120 games in a season. Nobody cares.
We're going to put this question up on Facebook.
We can do that.
And that's going to be the next question. We want the best answers from this question right here that he's asking. We want the best answers, and we're going to pick the winner off of this question.
I'm right. Just go by that. I'm right. I know from whence I speak.
No one cares about the
No one cares about the Flyers.
They want Flyers,
the thing.
Rangers, Flyers, Penguins.
Here's the thing.
They want Capitals, Penguins.
They'll never
want
meet
New
in the
Jersey.
Stanley Cup.
They want
Nobody
New
cares.
Jersey Islanders. They want Rangers Islanders.
Here's the deal. When you go on to Facebook and you log on, like Paulie did. Paulie had a half a dozen posts on our comments.
And
look
we're
what
going to
happened.
give you a
She
box
won.
of crackers.
Yeah. Well, you better, she's your friend. You're making friends that influence others. Every time you do, we'll put your name in a hat. We pull it out of this goaltender mask before the show, and you can win things
Fury wore.
from Play It Again Sports. See you on the Facebook page. Dave, run the URL. We got to get out of here. We're over time. Until next time on In the Crease, I'm Fiore. Bob, remember when it comes to hockey, if you're in the game, you're in the crease.